Here I've got a little potpourri of wireless security things that just don't fit anywhere else, so we're just going to list them all together here. First of all, disabling your SSID advertisement. So the SSID, you recall, is the network name, and you set that up on your wireless router. Mine at home is Tree Farm, and you might go somewhere and it says McDonald's, right, or something. That's the SSID. When you walk into a place, or if you're in an apartment building, you see lots of SSIDs listed that you can choose from. Most of them are passworded, but they are certainly being advertised. You can turn that off so that other people can't see the SSID. Now, is this a good idea for security? Maybe, maybe not. For the casual user, it actually is going to help stop them because they won't see that network. However, for the experienced hacker, it actually makes it easier. So for that person who's out there deliberately trying to find them, it makes it easier for them. So I'm not going to talk about why right now because we have lots of things to get through, but just know that it does. MAC address filtering is the ability in your wireless router to turn off MAC, or to turn on, I should say, to whitelist MAC addresses that are allowed on the network. So you can put your computer, your tablet, your phones, everything, all the MAC addresses in that wireless router, and it will not accept any traffic from any other MAC addresses when somebody else comes and tries to get on the Wi-Fi with their phone, for example. Turning off WPS, or Wi-Fi protected setup. This is a button that you'll find on the wireless router. You normally would push that button and then go over to the computer or other device and log on to it. So it helps you log on more easily. It's designed for user friendliness. However, WPS actually is a pretty high security risk, and you probably should not use it. You should manually do all those setups. Reducing power and station placement. You know, I used to have, years ago, before I knew what I was doing, I used to have my wireless router out by my wall near the outside of the house. In other words, on one of the outside walls. And that really is bad security. By putting it in the center of the house, not only does everything get better coverage, but also there's the least likelihood that somebody from outside the house can get a good signal. The other thing that we can do, and quite often do in, say, libraries or other buildings, is to reduce the power such that you don't really get any Wi-Fi outside of the building. Changing the default admin credentials. Many people aren't even aware that there are admin credentials on your wireless router, but they are there, and they are the way that you get into the thing in order to set up your network and so forth. Since all that is often done by the internet service provider when they lease you your equipment, you may not even be aware of it. But usually the administrator is either administrator or admin, that's the username, and the password is something like password or just blank or something. And so that's not very secure, and anybody can look up and find out what your router credentials, admin credentials are, and they can add themselves as to the MAC address filtering. They can disable your LAN or take it over. So very important to change the default admin credentials. Segmentation through VLAN. Virtual LANs are usually set up through switches, and normally the idea is to take a guest network that's on Wi-Fi, say out in the lobby somewhere, and put it on a separate VLAN so that traffic on that network cannot interact with your private network traffic. A Faraday cage is also pretty common. This is similar to number 4 up there, reducing power and station placement. The idea is to build into the walls or add on some metallic screening that is of the right characteristics to block wireless signals so that people outside the building cannot get wireless access. Finally, monitoring for an evil twin. So an evil twin is when somebody comes along with a wireless router and they can see your SSID. It certainly is discoverable even if you're not advertising it. And setting up that wireless access point with the same SSID. Now when somebody from inside the company wants to log on, they may log on to that computer instead of yours. And so now if you put up a screen that looks just like the logon screen for, say, the company, then that person will nicely put in their username and their password for you to capture. That's called an evil twin. Quite often they continue then to relay traffic back and forth and monitor and watch that traffic. That's called a man-in-the-middle attack. So these are the 8 security features that you should be aware of and that you should check out and make sure that you do the ones that you want to do in order to properly secure your wireless access.